Rajeshwari MJ. She pursued her BE in Electrical and Electronics at the People's Education Society College of Engineering, Mandya. She pursued her MTech in VLSI Design and Embedded Systems at the Sri Jagadguru Balagangadharanta Institute of Technology, Bangalore. Her personal skills lie in good verbal and written communication skills. Her areas of interest lie in OOPS with C++, renewable energy sources, HVDC transmission, digital relays, automotive electronics, advances in VLSI design. She has also had papers presented at the national level, such as the Innovative Architecture for SoC Multi-Core Hybrid Processor, presented at the RNSIT, Bangalore.
Welcome to UGC lecture series of BSc Physics Honours. Today we are dealing with the subject Digital Electronics. In this session we are going to cover the last topic in digital electronics, that is counters and converters. In the counters parts that we are going to discuss today is asynchronous and synchronous counters and also a decade counter. In the converter type that we are going to discuss, that is digital to analog type of converter and analog to digital type of converter. Let us start with the counters. Very firstly, counters will have a two type, one is asynchronous counters and another one is synchronous counters. Asynchronous counters, in asynchronous counters is a ripple counter and it is also called as asynchronous counter because it is having a serial inputs, that is serial inputs will be having in the counters, in this kind of counters, that is why it is also called as a serial counter. The clock input is applied only at the first flip flop, also called the input flip flop, is in the cascaded arrangement. Here the clock input that will be going to be the input to the flip flop, that will be in a cascaded form, that is why it is called as serial input. So, why it is the name asynchronous in the sense, because here the clock input is given to the very first flip flop only and it is not driven all the flip flops. So, the first clock input is given only to the first input and all the flip flop is not driven simultaneously there, but that is why it is the name asynchronous. Whereas in synchronous the clock will going to drive whole flip flop, all the flip flop at a time, that is why it is called as synchronous. The clock input to any subsequent flip flop comes from the output of its immediately preceding flip flop. So, first clock input will be given to the first flip flop. After that, the next clock input for the second flip flop will comes from the first output flip flop. The first output of the first flip flop will drives the clock input of the second flip flop. Though second flip flop would change state a certain time delay after the occurrence of the input clock pulse, owing to the fact that it gets its own clock input from the output of the first flip flop and not from the input clock, because there will be a delay, because first it has to, the clock will going to give to the only for the first flip flop. So, this has to be considered here. The output of that flip flop will be given as an input to the second flip flop. There will be time delay to drive the second flip flop, that is why there will be a propagation delay in this kind of asynchronous counters. Next, in this time delay here, the time delay must be equals to the sum of propagation delays of two flip flops, the first and the second flip flop. Obviously, there will be a delays due to the propagation. The propagation delay will be the sum of the two flip flops. So, in general, the nth flip flop will change state only after a delay equal to n times the propagation delay of one flip flop. So, what will be the first delay of the one flip flop multiplied by n for a nth flip flop. So, the delay for the nth flip flop, if we need to find, means we need to multiply n into the first one flip flop propagation delay, that will going to give the nth flip flop propagation delay. And also why we called the ripple counter or serial counter, the name ripple comes for this counter, because the mode in which the clock information ripples throughout the circuits. Here the clock information from the first input, clock information is given to the first flip flop, After that, the output is given to the drives the next flip flop clock input. That is why the clock will be going to be completely rippled through this kind of circuit. That is why it is called as ripple counter, and it is also called as asynchronous counter, because as different flip flops comprising the counter do not change state in synchronization with the input clock. The state that changes by this kind of that is asynchronous counters will not be synchronized with the input clock. That is what is called as asynchronous counters. From the block diagram here, that will represent the schematic block diagram of n bit binary ripple counter. So, here we can observe that the output of first flip flop will going to drive the input of the second flip flop, and also the clock that what we have used here only drives the first flip flop FM1. After that, the output of first one will going to drive the second. Similarly, it will continue till the n flip flop. After the occurrence of each clock input pulse, the counter has to wait for a time period equal to the sum of propagation delays of all the flip flops before the next clock pulse can be applied. First time, at very first time, we will apply one train of clock pulse here. So, once it has been applied, it has to wait for a sum of propagation delay of all the flip flops, so that after that only we can apply the new clock pulses here. So, this is one of the main things that we need to remember about the n bit binary ripple counter. The propagation delay of each flip flop of course will depends upon the logic family to which it will belongs, because it may vary from flip flop to flip flop, because we can construct the flip flop using AND, NAND gate or NOR gate. That is why it depends upon the logic family that we are used to construct the flip flop. Next, the synchronous counter. In the synchronous counter, as I said, it is driven by single clock simultaneously. All the flip flop is driven simultaneously. That is why it is called synchronous, because the output state changes with the input clock pulse simultaneously. That is why it is called as synchronous counter. And somebody may confuse with the synchronous counter and asynchronous counter. Both the synchronous and asynchronous counters will have clock. Only things how it will be driven, that is makes the difference between synchronous and asynchronous. And here asynchronous counter is also known as parallel counter. Here all the flip flops in the counter change state at the same time in the synchronism with the input clock signal, and also the clock signal in this case is simultaneously applied to the clock inputs of all the flip flops. And here we can speak about the delay also. The delay involved in this case is equal to the propagation delay of only one flip flop only, because the clock applied simultaneously to all the flip flops. So, the clock delay propagation delay will be only for one flip flop delay will be considered as the propagation delay, and we do not consider how many number of flip flop we used here. And also, in other words, the delay is independent of the size of the counter here. If maybe n number of bits will be there, and if maybe consist of n number of size will be there, that is the n number of flip flop we can use, but the delay will consider for only one flip flop. And here the table that represent the 4-bit binary counter, the count sequence will be like this: 0 to 7, which will count the count 0 to 7 here, and till 15, which is a 4-bit ripple binary counter, and it starts from 1 to 15, and these are the different output that we can expect, that is Q3, Q2, Q1, Q0 from the first flip flop, second flip flop, third flip flop, and this is the output from the fourth flip flop, which is having 4 flip flop, because it is a 4-bit binary counter. We need to use 4 flip flop for 4-bit binary counter. And the construction of the 4-bit synchronous up counter is shown here. This is a construction for up counter, where we have 4 flip flop from FF0 to FF3 we consider, and here the clock is simultaneously driven, the clock input is simultaneously given, and the output of first flip flop is given to the input of the next flip flop. Here how this flip flop will going to toggle: the flip flop FF0 toggles with every clock pulse, and the flip flop FF1 toggles only when the output of FF0 is in the high state, that is 1 state. Flip flop FF2 toggles only with those clock pulses when the output of FF0 and FF1 are both in the logic 1 states, and similarly it will go on continuous. And here we need to consider such logic can be easily implemented with a NAND gate, with the AND gates that we used here, which will going to help us in constructing this kind of logic. That is, very first clock transition, the Q0 will be in 0, and for the next clock transition it starts to high, the logic from 0 to high will be the transition of first FF0 flip flop. During this transition, the Q1, Q2, Q3 will be in the 0 state. The Q1 will go from logic 0 to 1 only when Q0 is 1, and also Q2 will go to logic high only when Q1 and Q0 is in high. This is where we can expect. This is going to be high only when Q1 and Q0 both are high. At that condition only we can observe the high. Q2 will also be in a high condition. So, and Q3 will be high when Q2, Q1 and Q0 are all in logic 1 state, then only we can observe. When all are logic 1 state, then Q3 will be also in logic 1 state. This is how we can able to understand the 4-bit synchronous up counter and its timing diagram. Next we move on to one of the type of the counter, that is decade counter. The name itself indicates the decade, in the sense we need to count a number of 10, only till 10 numbers, 10 decimal number we need to count. This type of counter we are going to count only from 0 to 9, that is from 1 to 10, it has to count from the decimal number 1 to 10. So, decade counter is one that goes through 10 unique output combination and then resets as the clock proceeds further. So, since it is a mod 10 counter, it can be constructed with a minimum of 4 flip flop. A 4-bit counter would have 16 states. We can construct this with the help of 4 flip flop. How we are able to find this 4 flip flop, in the sense the number of flip flop that can be used for a decade counter can be easily found with the help of this formula, because it is an integral multiple of n, that is 2 to the power of n will going to give the number of flip flop that we can use for a decade counter. Here the mod 10 should be the counter. So, we need to count the 10 till 10 only we need to count. 10 different combinations will be the output. So, for this, for mod 10, the 2 power 10, the power of 2 has to be greater than or equal to this mod that what we need to get the output, different combination of output. So, here for mod 10 we can say 2 power 4, that is 16, 2 power 4 that is 16 will be the different combinations, and 2 power 4 that equal to 16 will be greater than we can expect as a combination. If we write a 2 power 3 8 which is lesser than which is lesser than mod 10, so this will going to give a lesser number of output. So, we will like to go for 16, which is having more number of combinations. So, we are taken 4 number of flip flops here to construct the decade counters. And here since the number of counters, number of flip flop used is 4 bits will be there and the combination will be 16 bit, but we need to have only till it has to read till only the 10. So, another 6 has to be removed. By skipping we can able to count only till 10. This can be constructed with the special circuit will be inserted or slightly modified in the same counter. So, the number of combinations, the different combinations that we can expect here is from 0 0 0 to 0 till the 1 all high, that is 1 1 1 we can expect, and the number of combination that we doesn't want, that is 0 0 0 to 1 0 0. A decade counter does not necessarily count from 0 0 0 to 1 0 0 1. It could even count as 0 0 0 0 0 1, and this combination continues till 0 0 0. So, this is a starting state and it ends here, and here this will be a reset state. In this count sequence we have skipped 0011 and 0100 and this and everything we have skipped here. All these are a skipped combination here and all these are it could have even count this also, but we have skipped all this because we need to count only the 02, that is 00002, this is a reset combination till this is a n. This is a 10, this is 10 gives a mod 10 combination. Next we move on to how this block diagram of a decade 4-bit synchronous counter will be. It is having 4 flip flop, as mentioned it has 4-bit. So, the 4-bit will be having a different output. The output will be taken simultaneously, and for this the clock will be given simultaneously. The logic, if a 4-bit decade counter synchronous counter can also be built using a synchronous binary counter with slight modification, because we need to skip some of the combinations. So, there is a slight combination that we need to use with the synchronous binary counter. So, the additional AND gates that we represented here, the additional AND gate will be there. This AND gate that we are going to represent here in the FFD, in between FFC and FFD, we will going to skip the unnecessary combination. So, and causes flip flop FFC to toggle whenever it reaches to 101, immediately the FFC will toggles to or reset, it starts to reset and it the output will comes to the 0000 state, and thus the count is reset and it starts over again from 00 to 1001. So, from timing diagram we can able to understand better when the clock pulses is given, the QA will be out after high after the first transition of clock. Since the QA is high, the QB will be high after the second transition of clock. Since QA and QB both are high, QC will be high in the fourth of transition of clock. This will continue till it is having the number of binary bits 1001 combination. Once it reaches 1001 combination, the clear will going to reset the all the pulses with using which will going to be helpful with the help of that AND gate combination that we used in the binary counter circuit. And here the truth table of this decade counter will be like this. The clock count will be 1, 2, 3 till 11 will be there, the clock count, but the decimal value only that will start from 0 to 9. The count value will be 10 here, and the output bit pattern for this will be recognized as this. So, this is how we can represent the different outputs for each bit or from each flip flop. This QA 0, 0, QA, QB, QC, QD are 0 for the first clock count. The second the QA will be high, for third as I said QB will be high, for the fourth QB and QA both will be high, and for the fifth QC will be high, for the sixth QC will be high. Similarly, it will continues till all the cycles and we will get the different combination and also decimal value. Next we move on to another topics, that is converters. In this section we are going to discuss about analog to digital converter and digital to analog converter. Let us start with the first type of converters, that is digital to analog converter. In digital to analog converter type, the data input is digital and the data output will be analog. Here the input data, that is digital form, we are going to convert them into an analog voltage or current that is proportional to the weighted sum of a digital inputs. Exactly what the combination or what the functionality will be present in the digital, that will be replicated as a weighted sum of digital inputs. So, the LSB has the least and the MSB has the highest weight. So, whatever the input digital input will be come as a current or voltage analogous form, and here LSB the least significant will be having lowest height and MSB will be having highest height. Next, consider a simple resistive divider network for digital to analog conversion. By deriving the formula how the analog output VA voltage will be produced with the help of this simple resistive divider type of digital to analog converter can be derived like this. In the picture we can see thus 3 voltages V1, V2, V3. VA will be the analogous output, that is comes for VA, V2, V3 will be the 3 different bits that we can expect. So, RL here, consider RL is a low resistance, and here this all resistors will going to act as a resistive divider network. So, looking into the picture we can consider that assume that RL will be much greater than R. So, this is the first assumption that we made to derive the VA voltage, that is analogous voltage. So, after that what we need to do, the output analogous voltage is given by, that is VA is the output analogous voltage. VA will be given by V1 divided by R plus V2 divided by R divided by 2 plus V3 whole divided by R divided by 4, that whole divided by 1 by R plus 1 divided by R divided by 2 plus 1 divided by R divided by 4. After simplification and all, we will get V1 plus 2 V2 plus 4 V3 whole divided by 7. This is what we get after simplifying the above. For further, we can express this as VA is equal to V1 2 to the power of 0 plus V2 2 to the power of 1 plus V3 2 to the power of 2, which can be expressed like this, and also the denominator can be expressed as 2 power 3 8 minus 2 power 3, that is 8 minus 1 will give the 7. This is how we can rearrange the above equation. Also this can be extended for the n bit. This is what we have derived for a 3 bit, that is we consider the 3 different voltage. V1 is 1 bit, 2 second bit, and V3 will be the third bit. For 3 bit we derived this. For n bit what will be the VA, that is analogous output voltage, that is equal to V1 into 2 power 0 plus V2 into 2 power 1 plus V3 into 2 power 2. This goes on till Vn is equal to 2 power n minus 1, and this whole divided by 2 power n minus 1. This represents for a n bit. For n bit, the analogous output voltage VA will be represented as this. If V1, V2 and all the voltage will be equal to V, and if it is in the logic state 1, what will be the output voltage? If we consider like this, if V1, V2 till Vn is equal to V, and also then logic 1 state will be appear on the least significant bit. If the logic 1 will be appear on the least significant bit, and also V1, V2, V3 till Vn will be equal to 1, what will be the least significant output voltage will be V divided by 2 power n minus 1 for the least significant output. The least significant output will be this when it is high for the least significant bit. Similarly, for the next higher bit position, we can say it is as a 2V divided by 2 power n minus 1. And same thing for the next higher bit, if it is in the logic 1 state, then after LSB this will be the equation. Simultaneously it continues, it will go on continuously till, like for the next it will be 4V divided by 2n n minus 1. So, this will going to continue. So, what we can observe is the least significant bit to next highest least significant bit is twice than the previous one. So, the higher bit value will be twice than the least bit value. So, this will be the logic 1 state voltage. When we consider logic 1 state, the bit will be having the voltage equal to V divided by 2 power n minus 1. And consider when all the input logic bit position will be 1. If we consider V1, V2, all the bit position will be in logic 1 state, what will be the output voltage? That will be represented like this. VA is equal to V 2 power 0 plus 2 power 1 plus 2 power 2. We can consider V output because V1, V2 till Vn is equal to V, that is why V is taken common. The numerator will become like this for logic 1 of all the bits, the denominator will be 2 power n minus 1, it remains as it is. For this will be the analogous output voltage if all the bits will be having logic 1 state. Similarly, if all the logic bits, all the bits will be in logic 0 state, then VA will be equal to 0. These are the two states. This is for logic 0 state, this is for logic 1 state. If all the bits is logic 1, this will be the formula that we can able to find VA. If logic 0 means VA will be 0. This is how we can derive from a simple resistive divider network for a digital to analog converter. The output voltage will be VA to V divided by 2 power 0 plus 2 power 1 plus 2 power 2 till 2 power n minus 1 divided by 2 power n minus 1 for all the bits in a logic 1 state. Next we move on to digital to analog converter specification that we need to know, that is resolution. The resolution will be defined as the number of states, that is 2 power n, into which the full scale range is divided or resolved. Here n is the number of bits in the input digital word. The higher the number of bits, the better is the resolution. An 8 bits digital converter will be had 255 resolvable levels, that is 255 combination, from 0 to 255 combinations will be there. So, here this bits value higher will be the resolution, and it also mentioned the percentage that can be 1 divided by 255 into 100 will gives to 0.39%. For 8 bit digital to analog converter, this will be the 0.39 will be the percentage resolution. The accuracy of a digital to analog converter is a difference between the actual analogous output and the ideal expected output when a digital input is applied. Next we move on to analog to digital converter. In here the input is analogous voltage, and after a certain amount of time it produces a digital output code, because here the conversion of analog to digital will take some time, there is lots of process will be there. It is not as simple as how we converted from digital to analog. There is lot of complicated circuit will be there inside to convert from analog input to digital output. And here also we need to specify different parameters of analog to digital converter. One is accuracy. The accuracy specification describes the maximum sum of all errors both from analogous sources, that is from comparator and the ladder mainly, and also from the digital sources like quantization error of the analog to digital converter. So, this is represent the accuracy in analog to digital converter. Next we move on to resolution. The resolution of an analog to digital converter is the quantum of the input analogous voltage change required to increment its digital output from one code to the next higher code. And also an n bit analog to digital converter can resolve one part in 2 power n minus 1, and also it can be expressed as also percentage of full scale or n bits. And also the resolution of an 8 bit analog to digital converter, for example, it can be expressed as 255 or 0.4% of full scale. Next we move on to simultaneous or flash analog to digital converter, where here the comparator needed is n bit. For an n bit analog to digital converter, the comparator needed will be find out by 2 power n minus 1. Here the number of bit is 2, so 2 power n minus 1 gives to give rise to 3 comparator will be read, and also 3 comparator there will be a reference voltage is given for the one of the inputs of the comparator. We can observe from the figures there will be different reference voltage will be there for the one of the inputs of the 3 different comparators, and for the n comparator the reference voltage will be the V divided by 2 power n, 2V divided by 2 power n, and this will go on so on, and V is the maximum amplitude of the analogous signal that the analog to digital converter can be digitized. For 2 bits that we consider here, V by 4, V by 2 and 3V by 4 for the 3 comparators, and also here after the comparators output, the comparators will output will be C1, C2, C3. For the input analog voltage VA, that is 0 to V4, if it is from 0 to V4, the C1 will be low, C2 will be low, C3 will be low. Therefore, that is 2 power 1 will be 0 and 2 power 2 will be 0. Both the output from the flip flop will be 0 here, and also from the voltage range from V by 4 to V by 2, C1 will be high and C2, C3 will be low, and we can expect the output like this: 2 power 1 will be 0, 2 power 2 will be high. So, the output from the comparator that is C1, C2, C3 is sent to the coding network where it is processed and it is given to the read gates where the encoders and decoders will be there. This is given to the flip flop. So, here it is stored, the value is stored in the 2 flip flops, that is 2 different bits output. Next we come to the end of the session. In this session we discussed about asynchronous and synchronous counters, where in asynchronous the clock input given is given to the only one first in flip flop and it is not driven simultaneously. That is why it is called asynchronous, because the output state does not depends on the input clock pulse. And also in synchronous the clock is driven simultaneously and the output changes depends upon the input clock pulses, that is why it is called as synchronous. Synchronous is also called as parallel counters, and asynchronous counters is also called as series counter. And also in the converters we derived a formula for digital to analog converter to find the analogous voltage, output voltage, that is used with the help of a resistive network, that is voltage, a simple resistive network, that what we discussed in the digital to analog converter. And in next in analog to digital converter part we discussed about the parameters or like accuracy and resolution. Next we what are the questions that in the session that we can expect are: what are asynchronous and synchronous counters, explain the 4-bit synchronous decade counter timing diagram, differentiate between asynchronous and synchronous counter, derive an equation to find the analog output voltage of a simple resistive divider network in a digital to analog converter, explain the simultaneous or flash analog to digital converters. The references are talkingelectronics.com and the books references are Digital Fundamentals by Thomas L. Floyd and Digital Electronics by R. P. Jain. This ends the session. Thank you.